That Epiphany proclamation is an ancient tradition in the church. Goes back to obviously a time before people had calendars or, believe it or not, even cell phones where they could enter all of the dates. Announcing and reminding them even during this time of celebration that the real heart of the faith revolves around Christ's suffering, death, and resurrection, the Paschal mystery that is celebrated during what we would call our high holy days of the Paschal Triduum, and how so much of the other dates of that year kind of revolve around when the Triduum takes place. So it's a good reminder, even though, today if we want to know, we just go and look it up someplace, or, I'm glad that we passed out the calendars a few weeks ago so that you didn't have them all there here with you, and as Jake was singing the dates, you were flipping through and saying, okay, yep, check, got that one, yeah, so that was silly. Okay. The Feast of the Epiphany it's been said, it's when God revealed himself to the Gentiles. That Christmas, with the angel coming to the shepherds, that was God giving the good news to the Jews. But then these magi, these astrologers from the east, they would be considered Gentiles. But in all of that, the message is that God has given his Son for everyone, for all his children, not just a select few. And that was something in the very early church that was a bit of a struggle, because most of the apostles felt that their mission was to go and make converts of the Jewish people, their own people. And it was St. Paul who, in his missionary zeal and his vision, who said, no, it can't be that small and that selective. It's got to be for everyone. So, Epiphany takes Christmas and broadens it out to include us. And I remind you of that because as we finish up 2020 and as we move into 2021, there was a lot of stuff that happened in this past year. And as we move into the new year, no doubt, our attention is still going to be focused very much on the pandemic, on the change of administrations as a result of the election. And I'm hoping that some of the other things that people struggled with or that were accomplished in the year 2020 won't be lost and won't be forgotten, because especially the pandemic just is taking our attention so much. In 2020, a lot of people in this country finally found ways to speak up for themselves, for their brothers and sisters, calling us to see, calling us to acknowledge a lot of the injustice and prejudice that they have to deal with every day in this country, that we take for granted or we don't see the problem. Because of a number of voices, we had it held up in our faces and say, this is the reality. We've got to understand that. We've got to see how many people are living, how many people are having to deal with injustice because of the way that we've set things up. And so, just like Epiphany, which is meant to be opening us up to others, we've got to make sure that the journey toward greater justice that we began a new chapter in 2020 doesn't get lost or forgotten. Say, oh, well, that was that year. We tried. No. We're barely done starting. And so I found this in a Catholic magazine, but it was written by a man by the name of Otis Moss III. He is the senior pastor at Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago. Otis Moss has been recognized as one of the top 15 preachers in the English-speaking world. Me, I'm lucky that I was named one of the top 15 preachers in my house, and I live alone. But this is amazing. This is powerful. I don't too often have the opportunity to share the message of a black preacher, and I'm sure I'm not going to do it justice in terms of how he would present it, but nevertheless, this is powerful. In the place where anxiety attempts to dance, may we begin again. Let us begin to cook meals for strangers flavored by compassion. Stir the gumbo of grace given to us by the Spirit of God. Be faithful enough to drink from the cup of courage and set the table of democracy guided by the Spirit of love, walking humbly with acts of justice. Forgive us for words spoken that demean, marginalize, and undermine creation and the creation of community. Forgive us for allowing the shadow of caste and class to cloud our imagination of what is possible. Forgive us for not speaking truth to power, nor speaking truth rooted in love to guide our decisions. We seek to be a nation where different does not mean deficient. Color does not mean caste. And gender is not and shall not be restricted by glass ceilings. We seek to be a nation where children are able to laugh and will not hunger in the night, and where elders are cared for and celebrated. May we make America as a quilt to warm the bodies of the homeless and the timid. May we make America where those who kneel and those who stand find a seat at the table of democracy. May we make America where liberty covers the Muslim and the Methodist, the Baptist and the Buddhist, the Hindu and the holiness, the Jewish and the Gentile, the atheist and the Asian, the indigenous and the immigrant, the Presbyterian and the Pentecostal, the Latino and the Lutheran, the queer and the Quaker, the urban and the suburban, the rural and the reformed, the Southern and the Sikh, the wealthy and the impoverished. May the power of holy mischief urge us to step out of the darkness into the marvelous light. May the soul of this nation be held by the sacred love flowing from the amazing grace of God, who whispers in our hearts that we are called to be better, do better, and live better. May we make America. May we make an America that is yet to be a United States of America. This is our prayer on this day, in this year, in this century. May we make America. Amen. I think in a way what it comes down to, we as followers of Jesus have to be more focused on using rather than theming. We have to carry Epiphany with us. Let it change us. Let it remind us. We are all God's children. And what we hold in common is more important than what is different among us. Jew and Gentile, all are children of God. Christ has come for us all. May 2021 be a year in which we continue to grow in that understanding for ourselves and for all our brothers and sisters.